I would like us to recite the refuge one more time. In order to obtain perfect enlightenment, I vow from now on to go for refuge to the Guru and 3 precious gems, and not abandon. Let's stop there. To abandon is something that discrimination allows us to abandon in both positive and negative ways. That when we are angry at someone, at that moment, our energy is saying, abandon, abandon, get rid of them. I don't like them. I don't want them in my sphere. I abandon. You might as well just say it out loud, I abandon you. Because we are actually only experiencing life in the now, that this break in our care for living beings fully places us as human beings. It is a feature of the human realm to abandon others regularly. Even, for example, a child, or let's say an adult child, someone who supposedly knows what they're doing, and you feel angry at them, they didn't show up on time, or they did something that you didn't like, and you feel this anger rising at them. And so at that moment, you have abandoned them. And this is why it is said in scriptures, many fine commentators also, that a moment of anger burns 1,000, like a forest of trees of virtue. And so this abandonment happens in the present moment, and that is everything. And that's what it means, that this abandonment of a single sentient being is everything that you are. You are that kind of person. And so, in contrast, we say, well, everybody gets angry. That's human. It's a human experience. And from a higher functioning point of view, we go, yeah, that's really so sad. That it is really indicates a distortion of consciousness that is bringing this anger and abandonment. What is even worse is when we get angry at ourselves, because we have this idea of perfection. And so when we have abandoned others, well, that's very bad. But when we abandon ourselves by being angry at ourselves, then the basis of our practice, the basis of our existence has been abandoned. And so when we abandon living beings, it sounds so nice. It sounds actually very sweet in our refuge prayer, and not abandon sentient beings. Go, yeah, that's cool. Without recalling how many times that we have done this, and how many blips and stops and starts we have in our commitment to be of service to others. And so it's pretty hard to stop being angry. So the way we approach it in Buddhism is that gradually, we get the idea that our anger is causing harm, and eventually arrive in our understanding of the Mahayana and our understanding of our own evolutionary journey and our own evolutionary possibilities. And we realize that anger doesn't help. It doesn't solve any of the problems. Intellectually, we all already understand this, but energetically, we are still compelled to produce this because this is a normal human reaction. However, due to discipline and practice and particularly practice in the compassion practices, that we know that someone, somewhere, was able to experience an exact or a similar situation that makes us angry, and they didn't get angry. And so if that situation automatically created anger, such as saying, you made me angry, and if you and that person who has overcome anger were standing next to each other, and you were angry and they were not angry, it makes you think, what is it about them that they didn't get angry? And if they didn't get angry, is it possible that it wasn't the person that made me angry, but it was something in me? And so we literally change the way we look at the objects of our anger and frustration and fear, because it's all in that spectrum. And we realize that our vow to not abandon living beings has something to do with our dysfunctions when we do, and the abandonment of our dysfunctions allows us to not abandon living beings. And so there's all kinds of truisms that we could be thinking about. You know, love your neighbor, love others as you love yourself, etc. There's many ideas in a lot of religions. But our specific refuge prayer, which you say many times a day, it's not an unfamiliar thing to say. This abandoning living beings, sentient beings, has something to do with your capacity to not abandon them. And so almost everything in our refuge prayer is a call to improve, is a call to improve ourselves when we look at the pieces separately. And the wish to not abandon them is correct, but the ability to not abandon them comes with our extreme desire to become awakened through the altruistic path of a bodhisattva. And so let's recite this prayer again with that meaning. In order to obtain perfect enlightenment, I vow from now on to go for refuge to the Guru and 3 precious gems, and not abandon sentient beings. I will practice the 6 perfections. Very good.